So today I want to have a look at this 3-liter ultrasonic cleaner. To test it out, I've got a bunch of parts that are covered in cosmoline, and I'm hoping this ultrasonic cleaner is going to make this an easy job. This is actually the job that made me break down and finally buy one of these, because I was not looking forward to cleaning all of this stuff by hand. Now, I bought this at the end of last year on Amazon. There are several brands being sold on Amazon that I think are probably identical. Like the button configuration looks exactly the same and the case looks pretty close. I paid $83.99 and right now it's a little cheaper. They're going for $79.99. As I mentioned, this is the 3-liter model. They offer a couple sizes that are smaller and then a bunch of sizes that are bigger. Like you can get one that's 10 times this big. Now, when I say this one is a 3-liter, it'll actually hold about 2.8 liters if you fill it all the way to the top. I've been putting about 2 liters in it, which brings you right up to this little ring that goes around, and I think that's the minimum water mark, if I'm remembering correctly. It's probably for the heating elements. I assume they go up, on the sides. So you already saw this basket. It does come with that. Apparently it's important to use a basket with these things because if metal touches the stainless steel pan, the ultrasonic action can actually rub a hole through the tub or a reservoir. There, yeah, we'll call it the reservoir. So it comes with this. It's a little bit of a pain in the butt. Some small brass wants to fall through it, but it's usually not a huge deal. So this model has 120 watts of ultrasonic power and 100 watts of heating power. So the heating controls over here, the left-hand digit is our set temperature, and it goes from 0 up to 80, and it circles around. So if we hit down, it goes to 80, and you saw that the heating just came on because our current temperature is 58. So heating is totally independent from the ultrasonic controls over here where you set the timer. And this will go up to 30 minutes. So let me put the temperature back on 60 where I had it. Now I was curious about how long it would take to heat up cold water with this unit. So I ran a little test. I started out with cold tap water that showed 18°C, which is 60 something degrees. I forgot to write that one down. I've got most of them written down here, but yeah, so 18 degrees C is where we started. It took 1 hour and 42 minutes to reach 80°C, which is 176 Fahrenheit. So it takes forever to warm up cold water, and that was with the lid closed. After I had it up to 80°C, I just pulled the lid off and left it for a while to see how hot it would keep things. It dropped pretty quickly, but it seemed to stabilize around 60. So even with the lid off, this was able to maintain. So it's slow, but it will get the job done eventually if you don't have access to warm water. So after that test, I decided to go with 60 today. We'll see how it keeps up. We're going to have the lid open. We're going to be putting big cold pieces of metal in there. It probably won't be able to stay at 60, but maybe it'll be close. So you might have noticed this jug of Simple Green. This is what I'm going to start with. The first couple times through the cleaner is just going to be melting this crap off. So I want to start out with a weak solution of Simple Green. I've got about 2 liters of water in there and maybe a 1/4 cup of Simple Green. And then once I feel like I'm done melting it off, I'm going to switch to about a 50-50 water and Simple Green mixture. So let's stop talking about it and let's start doing it. I'm not sure how much is going to fit, but I want to try and get as much as I can. So this gas thingy here, it's not going to fit. I knew it was going to be close. I might be able to, we'll just put it in sideways. So it's sticking out there a little bit. Probably should have put that in last. All right, let's try this big old goopy spring. So everything fit in there except my magazine. That's okay. I have everything submerged except just the end of that one little guy. You can already see the cosmoline starting to melt and stick to my finger. So I'm going to run it for 5 minutes. Let me put the lid on real quick. All right, we'll run it for 5 minutes. The sound this makes is one of the most annoying sounds in the world. It's not like super loud, it's just really annoying. It's the sort of crap you hear at the dentist. So I'm going to let you hear it for a second, but this will be the only time in the video All of the other sound of this thing I'm gonna mute because it's just super annoying. So here we go. And it beeps when it's done. All right, let's look at our water after this first pass. See if I can just grab that while holding onto the camera. All right, that's our first pass. I think some of it, I think that was transferred onto that as I was pulling up the basket. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and run one more time with this same water with the magazine in there. What I'll do is, I just plopped that down in there, and I'm afraid I may have left some air bubbles trapped or something. I'm just gonna tilt this a little bit and see. Nope, just a little bit. All right, 5 more minutes. Now that last run, it stayed at 60 the whole time. So this won't kick back on until it goes down to 57. So it was able to keep up with all of this cold metal, which is pretty cool. All right, see you in 5 minutes. I think my camera ate my last video file. That's okay, I didn't really say anything important. I'm done with the second washing, and look, this water already looks really good. Like there's a little pool of goop over here in this corner. But for the most part, we're pretty clear. And most of the parts look absolutely amazing already. Yes, this was just that low concentration stuff, right? Just a little splash of simple green. Some of these pieces, like this butt plate, I'm not going to run them anymore. It's clean enough. It does have a little bit of goop there. Oh, pretty good little chunk there. Found a few hidden spots here in the trigger group, like yeah, flip the safety, and that exposed some more stuff. I just don't think we've got much work left here. We may not need the full concentration after all. I want to do one more batch, run them through again, and then we'll look at the water after that. I think we are done here. So this is the third batch of water. And these have probably been ultrasonicked for 15 or 20 minutes. Because what I've been doing is the parts that were done, I've been wiping them off with some oil and, you know, picking out the last little bits of cosmoline from stuff. So I just kept on hitting the start button on this to let it keep doing its thing. So let me get that out of there. So most of these already looked fine before this last run. See if that trigger right around that safety where I was talking about. Yeah, all that looks much better now as well. I think we're done. Like, that was easier than I ever could have hoped. That cosmoline never stood a chance. I mean, I think it melts at like 120 degrees Fahrenheit, so, you know, we're well over its melting temp. So I guess it shouldn't be a surprise, but it's still really cool to see parts this clean. And I'm looking forward to not having to scrub on AR bolt carriers for hours and hours, trying to get them clean. Yeah, all this stuff's good. I'll tell you what, while this dries off for just a second, let's try something else. So brass is a little bit hard to find right now, or at least it was a few months ago, and I picked up all of this once fired stuff. If I'm remembering correctly, the company said they give you 10% extra to make up for any burred and primed cases you might run into. So I'm looking for a quick way to sort out the burred and primed brass. Right now, if I look down inside of the cases, I can't see anything. It's dirty down in there. But what I'm thinking is a little bit of time in the ultrasonic, and I might be able to just visually look down and see the flash hole. So here is one of these bags of brass. I want to drop it down in there. and I'll see you in 5 minutes. Okay, fresh out of the water. So now the question is, can we see down inside of these things? Let's zoom in. So you kind of can, but you got to have the light just right. Yeah, this isn't quite there. Let's go 5 more minutes. Now, just in general, this brass looks pretty darn good. For a quick wash, 5 minutes, that's not bad at all. Here's what the water looks like after 2 washings. That doesn't really seem that good. You know, maybe Simple Green's just not the right solvent to attack the sort of stuff we're after on brass. So I think these are looking pretty decent here. Let me get a little supplemental light going on. There you go. See, there's some shininess down in there. I can see it with my naked eye. It's just hard to get it to show up on camera. So yeah, this is absolutely going to work. You know, I can grab several at a time. I can see the flash hole, and yeah, should be pretty quick to sort these. All right, one final test. We know that Simple Green after 10 minutes looks like this. So I've got this brass juice stuff that we tested a little while back in a regular wet tumbler. So it worked pretty good. It just didn't work any better than our normal soap and Lemashine in my test. But this should be a good opportunity to get rid of some of it. Let's dump a bunch of it in there and see if this does any better than the Simple Green. Yeah, that ought to do it. All right, here we go. So this is what our brass juice water looks like after 5 minutes. And wow, I can already tell that brass is much cleaner than it was with Simple Green. And with the hot water out of my tap, it's still warming up. Like it wasn't even up to full temp. I guess picking the right solvent makes all the difference. These are definitely better. Yeah, I don't even need to grab my flashlight. Got bubbles and crap down in there, and we can still see it through that. Now, the brass almost seems etched. Like it's got a little bit of a funky, like friction-y sort of feeling. Yeah, I don't know, it's weird. But I want to rinse this stuff pretty quick. I'm afraid that it might, you know, continue to work on the brass. That was a lot of it, right? I mean, I think you're supposed to put, 1 ounce of solution to 64 ounces of water. So definitely used a little bit more than was prescribed. I think this is where we'll leave it, folks. Just wanted to show off removing that cosmoline with my new ultrasonic cleaner. Definitely worked awesome for that. And quick brass cleaning. This is what I've been using it for mostly since I got it, is whenever I've got brass that I've got lubed, maybe I just resized it and trimmed it, and I just really want to remove the lube. I'll put it in this with hot water and a little bit of soap for just a couple minutes, and all the lube is gone. So that is definitely much easier than pulling out the whole wet tumbler and going through a full wet tumbling cycle. Now, one thing I'll warn you is apparently I just got a good one. If you go over to Amazon and look at the reviews, they're pretty bad. Like a lot of people report getting units that are dead on arrival, or it only lasts for 1 or 2 uses. But so far it seems like I got lucky. That was another reason why I kind of wanted to give the heating element a workout today on that test from earlier with the chart and everything. Like that heater was going full blast for 3 hours. So feeling pretty good about that, and the ultrasonic has been running just fine as well. So I guess I got lucky. The good news is this particular seller, this VEVOR brand, a lot of people mentioned that it was really easy to get a refund or get an exchange. So nobody wants to deal with that, but it's good to know the service is available if you need it. So that's it, folks. Thanks for joining me. See you guys next time.